Welcome back to the Crazy Courage podcast, where we interview guests that are business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals of all walks of life. A lot of these people do it because they have a lot of passion for their business. Some even put in some fun and magic into it. And I say magic with an emphasis because I have Mary Jean Harris here from Fairytale Princess Parties, who, based on the name of the business alone, I would expect there is a lot of magic sprinkled in there for sure, and a lot of fun for especially a lot of little people. Mary Jean Harris, why don't you tell me all about it?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. So we do princess, superhero, and other character parties for kids. We usually have the characters go to the party, do lots of fun activities with them, like story time, songs, games, dress up, crafts, superhero training. A lot of fun for sure. And we also go to special events throughout the city, like fairs, restaurants, meet and greets. We also have some of our own events throughout the year as well.
So much fun. And you said your own events, and I know I got a sneak peek because I know that there's an event coming up very soon, and that is the Princess Club, right?
Yes. Yeah. Princess Club. So that's sort of a special event where the kids will get to meet some princesses and do some fun activities, sort of school themed. I'd say it may be a bit more fun than just a regular school class. More fun, I'd say. Some of the activities that we're doing a singing class, and we're doing scrapbooking, we're doing a story time, and we're doing just some other games and some snacks and treats as well. So the theme is sort of back to school, getting kids prepared to go back to school, or maybe they're starting school for the first time and might be a bit nervous. So this is sort of like a going back to school event. We're having it on August 18th. So it's coming up in a couple weeks and should be a lot of fun.
And that is really exciting. And I think it's such a great thing because a lot of kids, especially the younger ones, I think, if you don't know what you're doing, first time you're going to school, the first time you're going to a grade school, I think they get a lot of anxiety. And I think this would be a great event to really kind of ease them into that kind of environment, and being in a group, being in a learning environment. It kind of takes away a lot of that fear, and certainly with you guys making it fun, that'll probably help quite a bit, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. And we're planning on doing the event every year. So it's going to be like at the end of the summer each year. We're also doing sort of with the scrapbooking, we're sort of doing a school picture, which is
Cool.
there's going to be a photo booth, and the kids will get to get their own photo printed at the event, and then they're going to be able to use that to make their scrapbook page.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. So moving on from that, what other kind of events do you guys do?
Every month or so, we go to Boston Pizza, actually, in Barhaven to do a lunch event, and people can reserve a table, and the character is going to be walking around the events. Then they'll also do some games and songs as well, and it's a lot of fun when the characters come to the kids get to them and the autograph, and yeah, and then we also go to fairs. So this fall will be at a couple fairs as well, and a lot of really random events throughout the year, but we do post them on our website if people figure out where they can meet our characters. We have a page with special events.
Well, perfect. And I'll put your website in the description for this episode so people can easily find out where to go and figure out what events you have coming up. So now a lot of these events you're talking about, the Boston Pizza and doing fairs and stuff, is it like a meet and greet kind of thing? Take your photo with the princess?
Yeah, usually those ones are. The events that we run, they're more like activity based. Yeah, the other ones, usually it's going to be, just walk around. They'll still spend time, interact with the kids and picture, get their autograph, and yeah. So sometimes the adults fun with that too. They're at the fair. It's like, oh, it's Cinderella, and fun for the adults and the kids.
Wow, cool. Now another thing you guys do is superhero training.
We do superhero parties.
Okay,
well.
Look, as a kid who loves superheroes growing up, and to be honest, I kind of still love them now. What's superhero training like?
So for superhero training, we just teach them some moves. So Spider-Man's our most popular superhero, so I'll just go with Spider-Man. So Spider-Man might teach them, okay, how do you do web shooting? Fight the villains. How do you protect yourself from the villains? Like you might be like ducking, jumping. It's really just active and fun games based on training to be a superhero, and then at the end of the party, the birthday child will be getting a certificate. So they're going to be an official superhero for their birthday.
Man, that would have been so cool. I wish that was around when I was growing up.
Yeah.
To have that certificate, I would proudly put that up on my wall. I guarantee you that. Okay, so tell you what, let's go back in time. How did this all begin? Like, how far back do you have to go? Like, you were a little girl, you were dressing up as a princess yourself. How do you connect the dots from all the way back to now?
Yeah, well, I've definitely been a big fan of all the Disney princesses since I was quite young, and I know I had a lot of love. Aurora from Sleeping Beauty was always my favorite. So I love the movies, I love the songs, playing like make believe games where like me and my sister or friends would be the different characters. That was my childhood, and then um,
Yeah,
in 2018, I got a summer job working as a princess for this company. So
nice.
I didn't start the company, but the company began in 2015. And then so the summer job, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just kind of do it in between my schooling. But it turned out to be a lot more. And it was something that I really, really, passionate about and wanted to do. So I eventually took over the
No kidding.
company actually later that year at the end of 2018 when the owner was selling
Wow.
it. And so I've been running it since then. I've kind of expanded it and introduced more characters and helped us get better known throughout the city. So it's been a lot of fun and certainly hard work, but it's really rewarding, I find.
So okay, so you talked about how you expanded the characters. How many were there when you first
So it
started?
was mostly princesses when I started. I'd say maybe there were about like 15 characters. Now I
Okay.
probably have about 30. I'd have to go
Wow.
and count exactly how many, but
Sure.
added all the superheroes, added some mascots, and other just random characters.
Wow, so
Yeah.
much fun. And which one's your favorite character to play?
Well, Aurora is still my favorite princess, but I think I like to play Ariel the
Yeah.
most. From The Little
Ariel.
Mermaid.
Okay.
She's a lot of fun, and kids love having a mermaid come to their party.
Right? I bet that's tough though, because you show up walking on legs and they're wondering, right, where your fins are.
Yeah, so there's kind of a few outfits for her. She has her like regular human outfit with the dress, which is explained because she turned into a human. Become
Sure.
in the walking tail costume, not as easy to explain. However, there is Triton. He has his magical trident, so he can turn her back into a mermaid and help her mermaid fin walk on the land. So we've got some excuses.
We got something, yeah. So you have to come up with those stories and ways to justify things you guys are
Yeah,
doing,
yeah,
right?
for sure. And
Nice.
the kids are very curious, and it's kind of fun when they ask the questions, so long as you've thought about it ahead of time. And, yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I guess you have to get pretty creative with some of those answers, and those kids are pretty quick to throw
Yeah,
things at
for
you.
sure.
Now I think you do some sort of mermaid performance
Mm.
training. What are those?
So those are a little bit different. We do actual swimming mermaids, so they go in the pool with the kids, and they have the swimming mermaid tail. So that's if you aren't familiar with the swimming mermaids, we like they wear with a mono fin at the bottom, so they can actually swim like a mermaid. And so we have the mermaids come into the pool, swim with the kids, do pool activities. Really fun thing to do in the summertime, especially when there's pool parties.
So much
Mhm.
fun. Yeah. Okay, so you took over. So I'm getting back
Yeah.
to your story. You took over the business started in 2018. You took over later in 2018. Inevitably, I got to talk about this with a lot of different business owners because it's a huge part of their story. About a year and a half later ish, COVID
Mm.
hits. Must have had an effect on your business for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Because there was a big period of time where we couldn't do any parties in person. People weren't even
Right?
having parties then. So I was lucky that I took over in 2018 rather than say like, right before COVID, because that would have been much more challenging. So I had a year and I don't know, a
Sure.
year and a half or so, or 2 years, um, before COVID hit. So I kind of could establish things before then. I We kind of transitioned to video calls and driveway visits. So video calls were, well, it kind of a mixed bag depending on the kids. Some of the kids really connected and they could interact with the characters online. And it was for younger, it's a bit more tricky because they might not necessarily get that they're talking to someone live, and I see it more as like, oh, this is like a TV. There's Elsa on TV, just like I
Right.
see her. Necessarily, Elsa is there live talking to me. So some of that didn't work out as well, but we did have the driveway visits as well, which was fun because especially when kids couldn't go to school, they couldn't see their friends. The princess come to
Right.
the end of their driveway and sing some songs, really special. So it was kind of like a hard hit for our business because we couldn't do as much.
Sure.
And of course, we couldn't charge as much for, say, video calls. But they get to back to normal after that. So we were able to with that time. And since we're a mobile business, like we don't have a storefront, we weren't paying rent. That really
Okay.
helped at all because I know a lot of businesses that did have a
For sure.
storefront that was like very difficult.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rent is still due. Regardless, landlords are still looking for money because landlords still had to pay their
Yeah.
mortgages. Yeah, it was all connected. People couldn't get away from that, unfortunately, even if their businesses were closed. So yes, having low overhead was
Mhm.
definitely, I think, a blessing for you for sure. Now, I think now you're saying driveway visits, and I know that it's not as not formal as being in person. Not you don't get the same experience, but I still think COVID, you're locked down, you got nothing to do inside, and you go out to the front window and you see a princess pulling up
Mhm.
and standing there. Man, that's got to be a cool feeling for
Yeah.
a kid. That would have been the neatest thing, you
Yeah, for
know.
sure. It was
That really make
yeah, it
up
was really
the
special.
COVID
Yeah, it
bonus.
was really special because the kids, like, they didn't have much they could do at all, and they weren't going to school for a while, and then they can go to their front porch and, at the end of the driveway, there's, like, Elsa or Rapunzel or Spider-Man, and it added a few little activities too, so we could do some even without getting too close to them, we could do some activities like Princess Says or Superhero Says, which is like Simon Says, like, "Touch your head, touch your toes."
Oh, okay, yeah,
We brought a little, speaker to play some music and yeah, it's a little alternative to a birthday party, but,
yeah.
it still worked out.
Absolutely. Sounds like you did a good job of getting creative with, the situation that you're in to keep being able to bring in some
Mhm.
revenue and keep the business going. And a lot of it is just keeping the business top of mind, right? They're
Yeah.
like, okay, great. We did a driveway visit. That was so much fun. As soon as things open up, I'm going to call Mary Jean. We're going to have like a full blown party with princesses.
Mm,
Like you keep the brand in people's minds so that they consider,
mm.
doing things with you later,
Yeah, for sure.
which
Yeah,
is,
there
which is
were
huge,
some who were, we had you for a video call and now we'd like to see Elsa in person, or we had you for a driveway visit,
right?
now we'd like to do a real party. So that was nice.
I can't get over honestly, I can't get over the
Yeah.
driveway visits. I feel like if I was a little kid and I saw someone pulling up like that, or even if, why are they at the neighbor's house? How did they get a princess to show up or a superhero? Or whatever? I'd just be so fantastic to
Mm,
see. But then, so things opened up eventually again
yeah.
after COVID, right? How long did it take for you to get back to pre-COVID type
Quite
business?
a while, honestly, just because when
Yeah.
people were able to have parties, a lot of people were kind of more concerned and they weren't having big parties anyway. So just wait until parties were really, like normal parties were happening and people were comfortable doing that. So a while, but I'd say, this past year and these past 2 years have been pretty much back to normal for bookings.
I mean, that's fair because COVID was a good 2 years of who knows what
Yeah.
was going on, ups and downs, closings and openings and different rules and masks and all that stuff. So it makes sense that after that, you could get your footing again and get going again. Good for you for persevering through that time. I got to say, that's got to be a business who's providing an in-person
Mhm.
service, entertainment. I mean, really, that's got to be tough. There's got to be a lot of fear, a lot of doubt. Like, how do I make ends meet? How do I keep this business
Mhm.
going? That couldn't have been easy. There's no way that was easy for someone in your position. And I certainly respect and admire you for persevering through that because that was a tough time for a lot of people. A lot of business. Like, it was a tough time for everyone at varying degrees. And I certainly feel for people where their businesses totally had to shut down
Mhm.
or totally had to pivot in a different direction. I think it's people like you who adapted to the situation that fared the best.
Mhm.
Like some businesses didn't have to shut down necessarily. There were those essential businesses or whatever, but everybody else had to figure it out. And the ones that did, I think they did the best. I think their brand probably ended up maybe being stronger on the other end because they're the ones who they know how to overcome
Mhm.
challenges and just push through it. I hate they had to go through it. Obviously, I hate that we all did, but doesn't kill us, makes us stronger, hopefully. But now the challenge comes your way. Well, at least it's not as bad as COVID.
Yeah.
That would be the lesson learned there
Mhm.
for sure. But yeah, anyway, so good for you
Oh,
for doing
thanks.
that, and I really appreciate that that you were able to do that. That's just really fantastic. And now you were telling me, and we talked about it briefly. So now that you've gotten back to like pre-COVID levels, you're also talking about moving on to like maybe the next iteration or expanding in some form, hopefully in the not too
Mhm.
distant future. Well, why don't you tell me more about
Yeah,
that?
for sure. So I'd like to get a venue. So people would still be able to have parties at their own house, but they'd also have the option of doing it at our venue. I don't know what it would be called, maybe the Princess Castle or Fairytale Land or something like that.
Sure.
We would have different party rooms where people could book a party. They'd all be themed. We have lots of very amazing decorations. Um, Potentially, like certain activities in there. That I thought would be really neat, but sure how feasible it is to have an indoor pool for swimming mermaid parties. Not too sure about that at the moment. I think it'd be more just like a venue with different party rooms. Of course, with all the stuff with COVID, I totally put that on the side because I thought, no way am I going to get a venue. If things are going to be doing and they have been, then it would definitely be possible in the future. And, I think it would be really a fun option for people because a lot of parents they book other venues or for their parties because they don't really want to have them at home.
Sure.
We get asked like, "Oh, do you know where
Been
we
there.
can host our party?" So it would be nice to have that. The other thing that might not be feasible is just because these are mostly Saturdays and Sundays, but you're paying
Okay.
rent for the whole week, so we wouldn't be making much
Right.
from Monday to Friday. So I'd have to introduce something like maybe having school visits coming and doing some certain activities there. We do have some packages that are kind of more tailored towards school groups or daycares, Girl Guides, things like that. Where I got a few different packages. One of them is called Courage and Kindness, where the princess will tell a story about, good friend, being kind, and having courage when you're, facing difficulties. And, introducing a more learning aspect because it's always fun to, meet the princesses, but it's also great to be able to instill good values into the kids. And when it's, say, their favorite character, like let's say Ariel talking about how great it is to be kind, then it's so much more that they would actually want to follow and rather than just having, their teacher tell them, perhaps.
Sure.
Mhm.
Someone they
Yeah.
actually look up to and, they idolize. Absolutely. That's a great idea. And to be fair, I think a lot of those princesses in those movies do have some sort of morals and
Yeah, for
values
sure.
and lessons that they're trying to impart. It makes total sense to do that. But you're right that I guess that would be the challenge is that a business such as it is really like something that you do mostly on the
Mhm.
weekends. So during the week, you're right. Like you can't rent space just for the weekends.
Mhm.
Usually, you have to you do have to do it during the week
Yeah.
as well. So, or you have to pay for the rest of the week, unfortunately. So, some things to work out, but hopefully that comes
Mhm.
together.
Yeah, yeah, for now, I'm
That
just
would be
gonna be
great. That'd
sticking
be
with the
great.
mobile stuff, but I've been kind of just casually looking into it because I think that would be really amazing in a few years to have a real venue like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think it would.
Yeah.
And you're right, because I've done it. I've hosted kids' birthday parties at my house. I know how much of a pain it is, and I'm happy to do it
Yeah.
somewhere else. So someone else can, wrangle all these kids and they're not terrorizing, tearing around my house and destroying things. Not that I want them to destroy your venue,
Yeah.
just saying. Yeah. Um, Now, how do you find people that want to dress up in costumes and be superheroes and
So because it is a very specific kind of job, you do need a very specific kind of person.
right?
I find that a lot of city and college students and kind of late high school years students are interested in it, especially if they're into musical theater. So, if people are familiar with the high school Canterbury, I have a lot of people from Canterbury or
Oh yeah,
who have graduated from
makes
Canterbury
sense.
who were in the theater program or the music program who are interested in being characters. So, yeah, I'm often people who are into musical theater or just acting. And really, I mean, it is very unique. And there are some people who have never done it before at all. and it really just clicks for them. So, for instance, for me, actually, I had
Good
done,
for you, right?
a few kind of drama classes as a kid, but I wasn't really into really that moment when I applied. So it just seemed like something I would be really good at doing and I would love to do. So, and it was become not just my job, but also my hobby, the parties myself and just running the company. So, although I hadn't had a huge amount of experience in acting, it kind of clicked because some people just resonate with these characters. And especially if you've grown up with them, it's like totally take on the personality of, say, Ariel or
Right.
Elsa or Aurora. And it just sort of comes naturally. So, on that,
Yeah.
it really just clicked. And um, so for others as well. So it necessarily have to have a background in acting and musical theater or anything. Sometimes it's just the person. It works.
All right. Hey, okay, great. So speaking of that, look, I'm ready to come work for you. I'm gonna audition. Put me in a princess outfit. I'm ready to go. This is a leftover from my daughter when she was wearing princess outfits when she was young. She's long since outgrown all of her princess dresses, but man, did she
Yeah.
love that. She loved running around pretending she was a princess all the time. So I can certainly appreciate what you're doing. And if she got to meet a real life princess when she was at that age, she would have just loved it. She would have been over the moon.
Yeah.
It would have been great.
Yeah, and even when
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
a kid,
So
we didn't even know that the princess parties existed. So I had never had,
right.
a party or anything like that. Like they did exist back then, but they're definitely a lot more popular now,
Right.
in the community.
And I think that's it. I think as the years have kind of gone on, theme parties and a long time ago used to be you just invite a few
Yeah.
friends over, you have some cake, balloons, pin the tail on the donkey. Like it's very basic, simple stuff. But now the party industry has really
Mm.
evolved to the point where you can get all sorts of entertainment when princesses and superheroes being one of them come to your party, which is just fantastic. It's such a great idea, such a great business for sure. And like I said, I think you're bringing magic to these kids' lives, even during COVID. Like I think you're creating lasting memories. Like I said, if you looked out the window and you saw a princess pulling up to your drive, like that's something you're gonna remember. That kid's gonna remember for a long, long time. So it's not just showing up to someone's house and it's just another party. This is a memory that you're creating. Like
Mhm.
it's always, a lot of these princesses are Disney princesses, right? And that's what Disney has always been about is creating that
Yeah.
magic. And I know we've spoken about it before. I remember when I was a kid, Sundays, 6 o'clock, we'd all gather around the TV and watch the wonderful world of Disney and always whatever show and movie they had going on. It was so much fun. And that was definitely my generation and a lot of kids in my school would go to school the next day and talk about, oh, what did you see what was on Disney last night? Yeah, we saw it. It was great.
Mm.
So it's Disney's always been about that magic and the princesses and their movies. It's all about magic and
Mhm.
fun and creating those wonderful experiences. So you're just, you're just keeping the magic going, which is just fantastic. It's so awesome. So let's just say I put on my princess tiara here,
Yeah.
right? I say, Mary Jean, come on, I want to come work for you. What does the training look like if I want to train to be a princess?
Yes. So first of all, we have a kind of discussion just online, like we're doing now, actually, about their experience and, with kids, if they've done any acting. Basically, if we think it's a good fit for the job, and if so, then I'll ask them to send in a little video of them doing a princess story time. Superhero is very similar. They just would do a different kind of
Okay.
video, but it's very similar
Okay.
process. That'll kind of let me see if that I think they're comfortable with. They actually start if they're hired, then they've started a party is just for training, and they would attend with another character. So see some royal maids parties, and they would just be there for training, just to observe how things
Oh,
work.
sneaky.
And
Yeah.
because you really need to see it firsthand,
Right.
participate in some of the games and everything, read a training manual, but you really have to actually go and do it in order to do a party yourself. We've gone to a few parties
Yeah.
like that. They would go to some like a second character, not running everything themselves before doing doing their own parties.
Okay.
So, on the person, some people, do it right away and they're do their own parties quite quickly. Other people, they need more time training. So I try to kind of make it customized more for the person, because if I see that they have, a lot of potential, they're really enthusiastic, then yes, they may have a longer training period, but they're really gonna thrive in the job. So it's worth waiting.
Yeah, for sure. And totally makes sense that it would be
Yeah.
different for everyone. Like you're not just going to work at Tim Hortons and McDonald's. Some here, like you said, like you read a training manual. Okay, I know how to make a burger. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna assembly line these burgers. This is great. When you're going to those parties, it's all role play and improv, which completely will vary depending on the situation, depending on what the kids throw at you, depending on the mood of the kids, depending on how crazy they're being, and like you really have to react to the situation, right? So it's like you said, some people would, I imagine, would adapt to that a lot quicker than others. Do you send people out there? We're doing training for the party or whatever. You're going to be a handmaid. Do people just come back and say, "Listen, this is just tough"?
Yes, actually. It happens
That
quite a
happen,
bit. Usually I try to vet people start to see okay, is this
right?
someone who is, for this random side job, they're actually passionate about it. I've been wrong though, and they tell me oh, I went to this royal maid party, I could never do this. You often say, well, do you want to try another one as a maid? Sometimes, no, and that I respect that because it's not for everyone.
No,
Yeah,
clearly,
sometimes it's not gonna go, because the improv is a really big thing. I have to kind of be able to think on your feet and just
yeah,
sort of, be in character enough to be able to just sort of
being character,
chat
right?
as the character, and to answer random questions like with Ariel or Tail, Elsa or Magic, and you have to just kind of flow with that, not being stuck on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. I had, I'll just tell you a quick story. I had one experience like that when my daughter was about 2. I thought, okay, I'm going to get myself a Santa Claus costume. I'm going to get dressed in the garage and I'm going to come to the front door and I'll be Santa Claus for her, right? So I get in the garage, come up to the front door. I'm in a Santa Claus costume, right? I'm ready to be in character and I'm all
Yeah.
jolly and yeah, great. Got the beard on and the hat and the big red outfit, big jacket and pants. It's great. Ring the doorbell and her mom comes to the door with my daughter and I'm like, go ho ho ho, who do we have here? First thing she says, hi daddy. I'm like, well, I guess I didn't make the cut there, so you don't hire me. Apparently I don't role play very well. I guess my ho hos were too familiar. I guess I don't
Well,
know.
perhaps if it was
Couldn't do
other
it.
kids who didn't know you already, it might have worked, but
That's right. Maybe that's it. Yeah. That was a lot of fun, but didn't work
Yeah.
out. But makes for a funny story at least. Yeah, I can imagine, and I gotta imagine, like it's like you said, you have to have a passion for it. You have to want to. You have to really want to do it. You're not just throwing around resumes. Maybe you're a student at Tim Hortons, the grocery store, fast food joints, whatever. Like it's not the same. Like to get a resume your way or someone trying to approach you, trying to get a job. Like it's got to be someone who's intentionally doing it. Like it's not for everyone. Like you said, and you said a lot of it might be some dramatic art students that are just trying to get a little more experience, maybe. But that being said, if you get a lot of students, does that mean you also have a lot of turnover with your staff?
I mean, it's often seasonal, just because, say for university students, they might be in Ottawa for the school year and then they go away in summer and then they're back again in the fall. Or if they live in Ottawa, then they might be here for the summer and then they're away in the fall. So kind of a struggling there, but we have
Challenge.
people for number of years, which is good, because sometimes it does take a while for training, and I don't
Absolutely,
want to
right?
have
Like,
to keep
yeah.
on, the process so many
No,
times.
that's got to be intensive
But
for
if
sure.
someone
Yeah.
starts
Yes.
maybe their last year of high school and then they end up going to university in Ottawa, then that's great, because then I've got them for another 3 or 4 more years. Yeah.
Nice. You were telling me one interesting thing about your business was that you guys aren't as busy during the summer months, which surprised me, but I guess when you think of it, it makes sense.
So I mean, the reason, at least that I think it is, it's just because people go away in the summer, so they're not as
Yeah.
likely to host birthday parties. They don't go away because they might say, "Oh well, my kids' friends are away. We're gonna wait
Yeah.
till everyone's back in September to do the party," or something like that. Mhm.
Right, and I've seen that, and we've done that with my kids and when they were younger, and we kinda gotta juggle things in the summer because it's different. So, I wouldn't have thought of it. I thought, summer, everyone's off, it would be a
Yeah.
good time," but it makes sense when you say it that way that, it wouldn't be as busy
Mhm.
necessarily in the
Yeah.
summer. Uh, but that explains why you're busy during the weekends, because that's more during, we'll say, the school year, and then your kids are in school during the
Mhm.
week, so the parties are all on the weekends, so your Saturdays and Sundays is party time,
Yeah, for
right?
sure. In summer, we do some day camps though. So we have the characters go to
Okay,
some summer camps just to do some fun activities. So that makes up a bit for the lack of parties on the weekend. It's not
nice.
busy at all, but still, some parties on the weekends. And then during the week, we have some day camp visits. So those have been fun as well.
Okay. Hey, if you can do your venue, you can have some of your own
Yeah,
camps. Maybe
that would be
that'll
nice.
help the summer. I don't know what to do during the rest of the year,
Mhm.
but the summer at least you can do weekends parties and you can do summer camps during the
Yeah.
week. All right, now we just got to solve the rest of the months of the year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm thinking something like school visits or maybe something like Girl Guide
Yeah,
groups or things like that. They can come for doing a special event with us. So I know
sure.
it is a bit tricky because those organizations often have a kind of small budget, so have to kind of just
Yes, fair.
be creative and some activities that can work during the week.
I'm
Yeah,
sure it'll come together for you. You managed to survive COVID. I mean, everything else is easy
true.
compared to that, right? It's all downhill.
Yeah.
But that's great. Mary Jean, this has been so great. Thank you for taking the time out to
Yeah.
speak with me. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed our chat. Thank you very much. And hopefully, your event coming up for the back to school is a success. I highly encourage anyone who has kids who have any kind of anxiety or trepidation about going back to school to try out an event like this because it can really help your child get used to going to school and getting back to school and just getting in that frame of
Mhm.
mind. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Mary Jean.
thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. Take care.